Welcome Virgo to your in-depth monthly forecast for January 2025 for the ascendant, the sun or the moon. I'm going to give you some key features to look out for, share your chart wheel at the start of the month, which provides a backdrop for all of January. As events and influences feed in, I'll go through them frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what to expect in January 2025. If you've yet to watch your deep dive video for the year ahead, please see that below too. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell, wishing you all the best for year 2025. If you're new to my channel, thank you for joining me. This is very much a community. If you have any thoughts, please do share them. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, we have found that 50% of people who regularly watch my videos are not subscribers. Please help the channel to thrive. Click that sub button, but also the bell notification symbol. Also, please like and share my videos too. If you'd like to order your year 2025 personal forecast based on your unique birth data, if you order in 24 you'll get the rest of the year free. In 25 you'll get a full 12 months from the time of the order. You'll also get my free gift of your zodiac, general, love, Chinese and Vedic forecast, as well as 30% off and your life roadmap report. Your life roadmap report is particularly influential because this helps you to understand the patterns that have played out in your life so far. The forecast helps you to time your moves, because knowing when the planets are helping or perhaps resisting your efforts is a critical feature of working with astrology. If you'd like to order from a whole sign perspective, a solar perspective if you don't know your time, draconic perspective if you'd like your soul perspective, please see the links below for more. Also, if you'd like to have a one-to-one with me, I am a consulting astrologer. Please check out my testimonials below and you can read exactly what people have said. I don't edit these at all. Now, your ruler is Mercury. It helps you to understand things in a very crisp and clear way, but you're always looking to gain some practical benefit from that thinking too. And since Mercury moved into Sagittarius but slammed on the celestial brakes at the end of November through to the middle of December, the chances are there has been some confusion, some tangles, uncertainty around very close relationship, family affairs, where you live, how you lived there and who with, or possibly if you've been waiting for the completion on a sale or a rental of a property. And on the 3rd of January, Mercury emerges from the whole process. So the post-retrograde shadow comes to an end. But also on the same day, a gorgeous transition as Venus moves into your sector of relationships. So if there has been something that's been a little bit difficult to get through, there's a real opportunity to get to a point of peace. But there is still a very challenging influence right at the start of this month and year, and that is Mars opposite Pluto. When it comes to the order of your life, the structure that's often very important to you, there could be a challenge that comes your way right at the start of the month because of Mars. Mars in your 12th house can tend to rake up stuff of a more psychological nature, which can interfere with the smooth running of that ordered world that you like. In fact, as this month goes on and towards the end of it, there could be a big shake-up in the works. And when I say works, it may even be around your employment situation. But usually at the start of each new year, the 5th house energy of the sun can give you a sense of enthusiasm. And it's no different this year because there was a new moon as 24 came to a close. And that black moon energy filters into the start of this year. So that's helpful too. But it's on the 6th when Mars inverts back into your sector of long-term plans, your connections with people in networks, friendships and socially. Now on the face of it, Mars is better there than in the 12th house. and it's going to be there through to the 18th of April. So if you are wanting to reorientate your future direction, Mars is going to give you the afterburners to achieve it. It is still in retrograde through to the 24th of February, so your plan may take a while to really shape up. But also on the 8th, Mercury, your ruler, moves into a much better location for you. You can find your sense of humour and fun and even mischief coming back to life at that juncture. But for us all, this year sees on the 11th the true nodal axis change. The North Node, the point of destiny, which is, if you like, our collective direction of travel, for you moves into your sector of relationships. But of course Saturn's been there the last couple of years, and Neptune since 2012. Neptune may have enchanted or disappointed you in turn, or enchanted again, and Saturn may have brought some harsh realities. The nodal axis suggests, and the eclipse series throughout 25, that how you relate to people and how you understand your relationships is going to be a major theme. But on the 13th we have the full moon. A full moon which is very close to Mars. That could create some turbulence or some about turns about that future direction. But later in the month there is going to be that big emphasis on practicalities. It's an area of life that you are an absolute expert on, but maybe you have become a little too attached to one particular way of doing things. And the gorgeousness of your sign and your energy is that precision, but at times it stops you widening your lens and drawing back to see the other opportunities that can manifest for you. So I can't wait to share all of that with you, particularly that energy towards the end of January, when you could find yourself really starting to rethink quite a few fundamentals in your situation. Now on the screen now I'm showing your event chart right at the start of the month. As ever, the Sun always in the 5th house. I mentioned about the moon applying to the Sun on the 30th of December, the black moon. So you can see the moon's moved on, but the 5th house is great if you're wanting to do something that's more self-expressive this coming year. If you're someone who gets a great deal of satisfaction from hobby or home crafting, for example, linking with others and forging a social network could be particularly gratifying. But the moon has moved on and aligns to Uranus. So that suggests that around your social situation, you could be in the mood for a bit of a change. And because Mars, you can see there in 12, could be emphasizing people you're not sure you can trust, or some downright disloyalty, that could affect your emotional health and therefore your physical well-being. So if there are some politics in your situation washing around at the start of this month, that could be something that really can deplete you. That said, Saturn is in your 7th house, suggesting relationships do need to be worked at, and it is in a square with Jupiter. So whether it's a professional relationship with someone in a position of authority or a personal one, there may be areas that need to be worked at very diligently throughout 2025. But in terms of the deeper details, so as you burst into the year, the moon forges that charismatic link with Uranus, but Venus moving into your 7th house on the 3rd is one of astrology's sweetest transitions, because Venus in the 7th house reflects the Libran energy that Venus rules, so it's how we connect to people. And because of Mercury ending that post-retrograde shadow on the same day, if there has been a situation which has felt unsettled, difficult, there is a chance to reach an accord, to understand where each of you came from in a much clearer way. But if there is a much more fundamental disagreement, because also on the 3rd Mars is in direct conflict with Pluto, it could really be very stressful, to be honest. Mars in the 12th house can, because of Mars's potential for anger, to be honest, and the 12th house is to do with the subconscious, our deeper emotions, but sometimes the part of ourselves we don't want to look at. So it may be that someone's going to be very direct in pointing out some of your attitudes, and that could make you feel very wounded, very vulnerable, or very angry. But on the 6th, as I mentioned before, Mars inverts back in its retrograde, which continues to February the 24th, back into your 11th house. That's a much safer area for Mars to be, because Mars in the 11th house enables us to be individual, but also to collaborate. So it's a much stronger position. It's also going to be forging a very dynamic link to Uranus through the last 2 weeks of this month. So if you start to think more deeply about what you want from that long term, if you're open to doing something that's radically different to what you're doing now, the chances of bringing some new but very positive possibilities into your world are going to be heightened. If you're someone who wants to stick very much to what you know, that's going to be more challenging and could create a lot of extra energy that you don't quite know what to do with. But on the 8th, Mercury finally getting out of Sagittarius is something to really, really appreciate. If you've not seen someone for a while because of the festivities and family time or work, Mercury moving into the 5th house for you also can reignite your desire to mix and mingle. The 11th, that nodal axis that I told you about, so relationships have been very important over the last couple of years for you, but the node gives you a chance to get the cash out, the outcome. So whatever you've been putting in, you will receive your reward over the next year and a half. But the 13th, that full moon. So a Cancer full moon, obviously the moon rules the sign of Cancer, for you could give you a little bit of a choice. Maybe it is about moving out of a group of people that you've been spending time with, or an interest you've got, and reorientating towards something that's more important to you as an individual, the 5th house energy that comes from the sun. And Uranus is very provocative in saying, look, if you need to change something, have the confidence to do it. But then on the 19th, the sun moves into your 6th house. Now, 6th house energy has a great echo of the archetype of your sign. It's very much about virtue, it's about order, it's about the detail, precision, achieving things that give us a tangible outcome. It's about being potentially very conscientious, thoughtful, providing services, making sure that we have an understanding of our fitness regime, but also what we eat and drink. But because the sun applies to Pluto on the 21st, if there is anything around your welfare that's out of kilter, a revelation can occur at that time. But the revelation could come from you. You can start to see something in a new, deeper and more enlightened way. Pluto's about depth, but it's also about the things that can be hidden. But sometimes it's the things that we need to embrace, that Pluto's subtly and powerfully prompting us to engage with, that we may have been resisting. Also, on the 28th, your ruler Mercury moves into the sign of Aquarius too, again accentuating that 6th house energy. But that also can give you the precision that's important to make some changes. But the new moon on the 29th sees quite the lineup: the sun, the moon, Mercury and Pluto all in a line. If there's something that radically needs to change, whether it's around your job, whether it's around your daily routines, whether it's a part of you that is too caught up with minutiae and that isn't seeing the bigger picture, that can all come sharply into focus. And if you have been resisting change or doing something radically different, the modern ruler of the sign of Aquarius, Uranus going direct on the 30th, is pushing and provoking you to get on the front foot. Don't resist the change, embrace it. And because Mars is linking to Uranus so powerfully in the second half of this month, things could start to go very, very quickly in some exciting new direction. But if you're determined to stick absolutely metronomically to what you know, the routines, the life structure, it could be potentially ask yourself this question out of some kind of fear, because having that familiarity is very comforting, but it's a bit like an old pair of slippers. They may be very comfortable routines, but eventually the slippers do get holes in, and that lets a draft in. So what did once work may not be working quite efficiently as you'd like to believe. So it's a time towards the end of this month where you may need to reanalyze your situation in a very honest way. If you don't, you could find that other people are starting to analyse your situation and make quite cutting and pointed comments to you. So if this sounds quite challenging at times, I agree that having Mars opposite Pluto, Mars in the 12th, opposite Pluto in the 6th, that is one mighty walloping, tricky influence. But there's lots of good stuff for you this month. It's all about being open to freshening things up. And if you are, some very positive developments can follow on from that. A great month, and do check out your year 2025 deep dive video by clicking on the link underneath this one.